Hello and welcome to another episode of Stacked. Today's episode is yet again an episode in the series of the quick live guitar setup, and this time it's yet again a one guitar stereo setup, but for chainsaw tone. And as far as the signal chain goes, I opted again for my Schecter Hellraiser C7 with the EMGs. And for the pedals and amps and stuff, I opted yet again for pedals only setup. And, well, actually, let me show you. So we start with the TC Electronic Mimic because this really creates a double-tracked layer, and I will show you how this sounds when we have dialed in all the tone. And then we have basically two chains. For the first chain, I opted for an old school HM2 approach. Therefore, I selected the Longwolf Audio Left Hand Breath Deluxe. And this goes into the Pepas Pedals Bare Metal Fury. This is actually based on an old PV Rage transistor amp. On the second chain, I opted for a bit more of a modern approach. I opted for the AIB Custom FX The More. And then we go into the Lichtlärm Audio Gehenna Mark II. From there, in a real situation, I would actually opt for two angle cap loaders. But since I only have one, I go directly into the interface, and I've enabled two instances of STL Tones Nightbearer, and I chose two Bogren IRs, the Fart Me Down and the Fart Me Up, for no particular reason. Again, the pedals I basically chose for no particular reason. I wanted to implement the Left Hand Breath Deluxe because it was about time, the More because it was about time, and the Bare Metal Fury I really wanted to try it, and the Gehenna basically because I had the Bare Metal Fury and I thought it was a good complementary tone, although I haven't tried this particular setup. Okay, first things first, we will activate the Mimic so that I only have control over the old school signal chain. And there I will dial in the Bare Metal Fury. So clean tone. Now we're in mono, and every time we're in mono, I will pan the sound in the middle so you can hear on both ears. And as soon as we start to use both sounds, I will pan them to the left and to the right. And the sound you're currently hearing is going to the right, and the sound you're afterwards hearing, so the modern approach, is going to the left. Okay, I opted for a very almost cleanish sound. Of course it's not clean, but I like to have the meat of my distortion coming from the HM2. And well, that's it. So I think the Left Hand Breath Deluxe is still in my favorite settings, so we will simply activate it and hope for the best. Okay, I'm happy with the sound. And now let's switch over to the other tone stack. Okay, first of all, Gehenna. Okay, and now the more one knob chainsaw, that simple. Okay, I have two sounds, and now I will basically blend them and have the full stereo experience. But first of all, we're going to listen not with the mimic on, so I will deactivate it. Then you should hear both sounds. I will do some volume adjustments so that we have them on the same volume. And then I will activate the mimic. Oh, I will tell you. Okay, so here are both sounds. It sounds quite similar in volume. Okay, and now I will basically activate the mimic, and the mimic is set to a very specific setting, otherwise it won't work as you want. You want basically a dry signal going to path 1, and then you want a processed signal going to chain 2, and therefore you have to use the mono input, have to set the toggle to one voice, and set tightness as you want. I basically leave it at around noon, maybe 11, 10 o'clock. And then you can basically control the two signals with those two knobs here, going to the two stereo outputs. And that's what I do. And if you use stereo input, it won't work. And if you use any other voicing, it won't work. Okay, so both on full. And now let me play a chord and then activate the mimic, and hopefully you hear a difference. So, that was my try to basically build a full stereo rig only with pedals for one guitar in a chainsaw setting. And key ingredients here for my particular taste and in my humble opinion is the Mimic. This will only work with the big version, not the mini Mimic. And two fully independent signal chains. Technically, you could use the HM2 distortion in front of the Mimic and then go basically into those two preamps with the same HM2 distortion. And I think this will sound well, of course, but when the sounds differ even more, because we're having two different chainsaws, the sound will get even wider. And that's what you have to keep in mind. So you could basically spare one HM2 pedal if you're on a budget. You don't have to use those pedals, you can basically use whatever you want. This will probably work with an iMaster into the Mimic and then into, well, even maybe two MT2s or a Digitech Metal Master, it's dirt cheap, and an MT2, and then into some cap loaders or into just a stereo power amp. You could only also use this one. But that's my try, and now let me know, what do you think about this particular sound? And are you a single guitar player in your HM2 band? If so, what is your setup? Really curious to find out. And if you want to support this channel, you might want to check out the links in the description. I've linked you, for instance, the Mimic. So if you want to buy it, you can do so and help my channel. And you might want to consider becoming a YouTube member. There will be exclusive content in the future. I'm working very hard on the first exclusive video and I have some more in my mind. Yet. Okay, and with this said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, check out my Instagram. May the force be with you and have a nice day.